shirt don't fit like it used to, and I need another notch on my belt. If you're looking for a six-pack, muscled up kind of man, better look somewhere else. Yeah, I can stand to lose a few pounds, but for right now, I'm working on my diet, but oh my God, ain't gotta be hungry to eat.
Welcome to Talking Sports on Dads with Bacon, and Bacon himself with the last-minute pop on. Papa Bacon, how you doing, my friend?
Good, buddy. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. Plenty to talk about in the world of sports this week, guys, and I am fired up to be back. But on that first topic, let's crap on those Mavericks. So, can the Mavericks do anything and overcome the cancer that is Kyrie Irving and maybe, I don't know, find a healthy, decent player to play on their roster? Or are the Celtics just too dang good? And
the latter.
The dang gum Bucks give up Drew Holiday to get up in another finals. Because I can't not mention Wisconsin sports. Bacon, where are you at with this?
I really thought going in that the Mavs had a good chance of winning this series. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I'll be honest with you. I mean,
who the fuck thought the Mavs would win?
The way they went through the Western Conference, and I'm still convinced the Western Conference is a better conference of the two. I think by far it's a better conference. But this Luka needs to stop bitching about the officials and actually just start playing basketball. I mean, that's one of the most frustrating things about it.
Amen.
And
here,
I'll be surprised if they win tomorrow night, to be honest with you. I thought they'd win maybe in 7 games. I think before the series started, we actually had to skip our show. And so I don't think we even really had any predictions on the finals. I would have said Mavericks in 7. But this is an absolutely craptastic NBA finals. And I'm extremely disappointed in the Mavericks. I was really disappointed that the Nuggets didn't make it, because I really think, and I know Adam said it earlier in our group chat, I think the Nuggets are about the only team that can beat the Celtics team.
Correct.
Even though the Western Conference is better, and I think the Celtics had one of the easiest roads to the finals. Adam, stop now. Knock it off. Okay? I mean, come on. It's the Eastern Conference. But I think this would have been a much more enjoyable, Nuggets Celtics finals. But the Nuggets.
The Wolves, by the way, Aaron. The Wolves had a great season. You've got
yes, they did.
Gobert, you've got Towns, you've got some great young guards there. Mm-hmm. How do you felt the Wolves playing the Celtics here instead? Do you think that's more interesting or the same problems?
Well, I think there would have been a better story. I mean, I think it would have been more enjoyable to see like Anthony Edwards and Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns against this Celtics team. But at the same time, they had their chance. I mean, they crapped the bed against the Mavericks. So, I mean, it would have been more interesting. But I also think that T-Wolves team is maybe 1 or 2 years away from really. Right. I just think they're almost too young. And I know sometimes that rings true and sometimes it doesn't. I think in this case it does. I think they need another year or two and then they'll be fine if they can keep that core together in Minnesota.
So let's just talk about the core in Minnesota for a second, because I have it right here. See that right there, Celtics in 5. That was my pre-series prediction, because the Mavs are just not good. I said this before. I said it in our chat. I will say it again. I don't care what team came out of the East. I don't care if they were fully healthy. The Celtics team is just that much better. A historic offense and a historic defense. This team is just far superior. It's not the Timberwolves' fault that Cat decided he wanted to shit the bed the last couple games, and Gobert couldn't handle the entire freaking workload on themselves. Celtics would have beat the Timberwolves in 6, but those games would have been a heck of a lot closer than some of the gaps that we've seen between the Celtics and Mavs. Nuggets versus the Celtics, Nuggets in 7. And it would have been a learning experience for the Celtics. And as a Boston fan, Tatum's overrated. Jaylen Brown has emerged as a freaking megastar.
Take on me, Celtics. pick on me, all right? I'm here for it. I'm 6'7". I will beat all of your Boston punk butts down. Let's go.
Thanks for Drew Holiday, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Charlie, what do you got?
He was such a great get for us. But I will say,
He
I think
was.
one thing that's being massively underlooked is the emergence of what Jaylen Brown has become.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he's become the megastar. And I'm sorry, Tatum, he's become the star for this team. Now, on the Mavericks side of things, and I don't think this gets talked about enough, the addition of PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, what it did for their entire team by getting those two players really helped them. They would not be in this position without those two. I'm not a particular fan of Kyrie. Last night he showed he can at least try to step up in the moment where it needed.
That's fair.
20 points, I think, in the first, the first half alone, 20 plus points.
Yeah.
But then disappeared. Why? Because Luka started taking over in the second. This is the problem. And 2 years ago, that's why this trade didn't make any sense. Why Dallas traded for Kyrie. It didn't make any sense. You have two players that want the ball to want to shoot. It didn't make sense. You saw it again last night. It was Kyrie wanted to shoot, and then Luka wanted to shoot. Luka does need to stop complaining about the freaking refs.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
They were fair to have him. Would he complain?
I mean, he's fouled out twice in his career. And I understand megastars get different treatment. They get different calls, not called against them. Call it whatever you want. But dude got put in his place last night, kind of, sort of. Maybe that was a little bit of a piece of humble pie. And I do think Mavs are going to go out. I quite frankly think they're going to go out and beat the Celtics on Friday, and this is going to end back at the Garden on Monday. But from an overall perspective of what the NBA is, if you're a basketball fan in general, you think of what, for example, Amen Thompson is doing for Houston. You think of what that entire Houston core is doing. Look at what Asar Thompson could be when Detroit actually wanted to give him a chance. You put him next to Cade, and you figure out what they want to do. Like the Bucks, I understand they wanted to go with Lillard. You still have Giannis. You still have Lillard. Middleton may have been more injured than any of us knew. Basketball is in a phenomenal spot than it was even 5 years ago. The emergence of some of these stars have been outstanding. So I mean, it's been a great series. If you can still get plus money on Drew Holiday MVP, go get plus money on Drew Holiday MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy, I mean, when you look at that team from last year to this year, what's the main difference on that team? And it's
Drew and
Holiday.
Porzingis.
Oh, yeah,
and Porzingis, but well, exactly. That's the. I mean, you took the best defensive player the Bucks had, and you put him on a team that was already, ready and poised to go and win a final. So, and like I do agree with you, Ben, when you mentioned earlier in our group chat. I think. I mean, I want to have faith. I want to give it one more year, but I'm kind of wondering if the Packers, if the Bucks didn't get Dame maybe a few years too late. But yeah. Anyway, Charles, what do you think, buddy? You've been quiet here so far. What are your thoughts?
Oh,
not here. Sorry, bud.
A healthy Heat team could beat the Celtics.
The Heat are not good.
I'm gonna go to this here, Adam, for a second. I'm just saying, look, Hero, Jimmy Butler, and them, they could beat all of them healthy together. Can beat the Celtics. They're the Celtics' only competition in the East. It didn't happen this year, but that's all right. The Mavs are a better team than what we are seeing. I feel that the Mavs on any given season like this that they've had, they could be able to beat this Celtics team. But there's other forces at work right now. And this is just the basketball gods.
Have you seen
handing Al Horford his much, much deserved ring?
Yes.
For the years of dedication that he has put towards shitty teams. That's all this is. And the Celtics are going to win. They're going to see. And Al's going to get his ring.
Where did Al Horford find the fountain of youth, by the way? Have you seen some of the plays that this guy has made? The physicality that he is bringing? I'm just like, this guy's in his late 30s. Where did he find this?
Screw him and screw Pascal Siakam. All right? Like, those guys can go, like,
It is
let me put guys in a Milwaukee bar on a level playing field. Like, both those guys, nah, forget about it. Like, come on. Like, Al got his. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here.
He will. When we get banned to 18, he gets his championship. He'll retire.
Okay. Can I? Okay. Speaking of that, okay, I want to kind of sidetrack here a little bit because this is something that's been stuck in my craw for the last like day or two.
Well,
ever since ever since I've been seeing these posts about, you know, hey, one win away from raising our 18th banner. Okay, Let me ask you this right now. Okay, how long? And I don't know this off the top of my head. How long has the NBA has been around for what, like 80 years, 85 years, something like that? Because they just had their 75th. Yeah. And the Celtics have been one of the first teams in there. Okay. So this will be their 18th champion. I think we can already say this will be their 18th championship.
Yep.
Now, you're also, Adam, since you're perfect for this question, actually, because you're also a Patriots fan. So Patriots have what, six Super Bowls? No, okay, I know. I said it's kind of sidetracking here, but this is the question. Hey, Steve.
I blame it on whatever my daughter's watching on our TV downstairs.
That's great. Always blame it on the kids. Father's Day weekend's coming up. This is where you blame all this shit on the kids. Okay, so Adam, here's my question. So in the Patriots history, they have what, the 6 Super Bowl rings, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now, as a Packers fan, when teams talk about like, okay, how many Super Bowls each team has won? You got like Patriots have 6, a couple other 1 or 2 other teams have 6, and they got a couple with 5 and all that. You know, Packers have 4, and I'll put something up on Facebook and say, you know, well, the Packers have 13 world championships, including 4 Super Bowls, and admittedly, every single freaking time there's some fan that's not a Packer fan, of course, who comes on. Well, like half of those championships were won back when like there were only 8 teams in the league, and go Pack, go. Thank you, Ben. So you know, there's always that criticism that, well, you know, hey, they won a bunch of them back before the league was really as big as it is now, blah blah blah. Why is it that we can look at a team like the Yankees, who have won what, like 27 World Series,
27 World Series,
27, yep. You got, and now you have the Celtics, who have won 18. But 11 of those were won with Bill Russell when there was hardly any other than Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West. There wasn't really a whole hell of a lot to compete against in there.
Nope.
So my question is, why is it okay? And I want to make it clear, I totally support you guys hyping up the 18 championships. I totally support the Yankees hyping up the 27, even though they've won those like back in 1920s and all that.
I support you guys with the 13.
Well, thank you. Okay, so But I wish Troy was on right now, because he's one of them that has talked about how you know,
really got to bring his poor Bills into this.
Well, no, I'm not bringing the Bills into it, but he's made comments before about how, you know, well, you know, back in the day, I mean, there wasn't as much competition. They only played 10 games.
Doesn't matter.
And that's what I've always said.
It doesn't matter. Did you win the big game when it mattered the most? Yes, congratulations.
Okay.
There is a reason the Packers are looked at as one of the all-time great sports teams, because of what you did to trend set the game of football.
Thank you. Okay.
Heck, it's the Lombardi Trophy.
I knew there was a reason I liked you, Adam. Thank you. Okay.
I mean, Aaron and Adam, think about the conditions and the lack of protective equipment that they played with when those early championships were won. Half the stuff that they did during those games, they'd be thrown out of the games now for doing it.
Right.
Like, I even look at that too, to say that was even a bigger, more valorous thing. You know, those championships, I think, are worth more, because I think they put their bodies and their everything on the line more than these players are today are.
I look at this as look, here's a championship's a championship, right?
Yep.
When Boston wins banner, we win championship 18, it's banner 18. The reason that I think that's thought of is big, it's the classic Celtics-Lakers rivalry. Bill Russell with the 11, and then you had the insane 80s back and forth between Magic's Lakers and Bird Celtics, and the legendary rivalry between both, trading championships back and forth. It's what kind of made a lot of, Kurt, and, someone just pulled up this here. Like, you see the Lakers and the Celtics just being what they are. Obviously, you have Jordan's Bulls that are in there. You have the Golden State Warriors dynasty that they had, LeBron's Heat. I mean, you can't get away without saying what Pop and Duncan, Ginobili, and, all these, I'm forgetting all that, Tony Parker. You can't forget what they did.
Yep.
When you set up an era like that, to me, it doesn't matter. To me, my uncle, rest in peace, when he was alive, always a Packers fan. Why? That was just his team. I remember having as a kid a Green Bay Packers coffee mug. The Packers, to me, it was the Packers. They're the trend-setting team for football. And when the AFL and the actual NFL, when they actually merged into one league, whatever the two leagues are called, it became tougher. But who cares? Like, you still have to be at the top of your game to be able to win a freaking championship, right?
Yeah.
Like, think of the teams that never won a championship, right? And you could have had, I'll put it to you this way. Football, Dan Marino.
Yep.
One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time to never win a championship. We talk about Peyton Manning. If it wasn't for that Denver season, he had one Super Bowl and is still considered one of the greatest of all time. It doesn't matter what era you win in. I don't think there's anything different. I don't think there's anything crazy special. I'm all about player safety. Heck, football this season, just put flags around them and let it be flag football. Apparently, the way you can't tackle this season. But again, to me, it doesn't matter. There's a reason it's called the Lombardi Trophy. There's a reason you all have three legendary quarterbacks to our one. You had the legendary Bart Starr, then the legendary Brett Favre, and then you had, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, who, up until Patrick Mahomes, was the most talented quarterback that football has ever seen.
Yep.
And I think that's what people are going to put in perspective. You can have your fandom all you want. I know my Patriots suck. I know my Red Sox suck. Our Bruins I don't even really follow them. But, like, when you can gravitate around a team, it's still the love of the game. There is something about being a sports fan or a fan of whatever you are. There's something about just rallying around people you don't know. I didn't know you guys until I somehow, I don't even remember how I got here. Somehow, some ways, like, sports fans just manage to pull things off.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't hate any team. I'm a fantasy sports guy. I love players on different teams. I got a Christian McCaffrey jersey and a Gabe Davis jersey. I don't care. I'm a fan of certain players. I still can't like that Gabe Davis jersey might have to go, but I'm kidding. There's just
is it a Jags or Bills jersey?
I mean, Bills jersey and Christian McCaffrey Panthers jersey.
But you're talking about people that may not get. I mean, Panthers are now up 3-1 on the Oilers in game, and I know we'll get to more of that later. But Connor McDavid may not ever get a Stanley Cup at this point, and
superstar.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give. There's a class of people that make it to the top, and then there's that group that gets almost to the top of Mount Everest and just doesn't get there. Yeah. But they've made it like almost to the top, and that's like Dan Marino, as you said. Like, where do those people fall? Do they?
I'll put it this way: before we make our way over to the Stanley Cup Finals, for example, you think of some teams in the NFL that are poised ready to take over as the next great teams. Houston, with Stroud and that trio score. Charlie's Colts, Richardson and what he can freakishly do athletically. 3 stud wide receivers and one of the best running backs in the game behind a great offensive line and a much improved defense. There were teams that are ready to take the next step. They can look great on paper all they want, but like the Celtics did, fantastic on paper, pulled it off. Mavs may not look the best on paper, but you see certain things that make them really well. I had the Timberwolves out of that series because I thought they were the better all-around team.
Yep, I agree.
And then Cat just did Cat things. But the beauty for the Timberwolves, no one expected you to have that kind of deep of a run.
Yep.
No one expected you to have one of the best defenses in the NBA this year. And Anthony Edwards took his superstar status from star to superstar, the same way Jaylen Brown went from superstar to megastar, my opinion. Speaking of megastars, what the F is Serge Bobrovsky doing? I know I've heard his name before, but apparently insane Tuukka Rask levels of greatness.
Yeah. So Tuukka Rask. Anyway.
Rask or whoever we had as our goalie. I can't think of the name.
Jeremy Swayman.
Tim something. Why? It's our friend from Boston. Anyway, it'll go Puckets Con the Parkway.
I completely just got compared to a
now it's
Sam
4-1
commercial.
Now it's 4-1. So look, it was 1-1 literally when we started our show. Not even 20 minutes ago, it was 1-1.
Insane.
It is now 4-1. The Panthers are just steamrolling Edmonton and Edmonton. So it looks like we're going to go to a 3-0 lead for the Panthers here in Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Finals. Look, Bobrovsky's been a wall between the pipes here in the finals. It's been a story the last few years, especially, of the hot goaltender in the finals.
Yeah,
we've seen Vasilevsky do it for the Lightning. We saw Jonathan Quick a decade ago do it for the Kings.
Oh, that was a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll go through this one. Braden Holtby for my Caps a couple years ago had his run.
Mm-hmm.
There's been different guys, and I'll throw a name out here that burns my tongue to say it. Marc-Andre Fleury had his run as well.
Yeah,
Fleury. But look, when we see these goaltenders get hot like this, and Jaguar had his runs with the Ducks. There's these guys who have had these runs that make these pieces special. Bobrovsky made the Blue Jackets relevant. He went to the Panthers. He's made them relevant these last few years. And now it looks like he is at his hottest when it's most important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, McDavid's the focus in Edmonton. Draisaitl's kind of the Malkin to McDavid's Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys see any way we get a Boston in 03, was it 03-04 when they got that series? They came back against the Yankees, down 3 games.
They were down 3-0.
Yeah. Can Edmonton come back against Bobrovsky and the Panthers in this series to get Canada a Stanley Cup back finally? I don't think so. What do you guys think?
Not at all.
No.
Hell no.
No.
They look like crap, and they have most of the series. It's not going to happen for them. Canada doesn't win championships.
Yeah.
Wow.
They win championships in CFL because it's only between teams in their own country.
Put one American team in the CFL and they run the table.
So as of right now, as of this moment, Bobrovsky's faced 19 shots, saved 18. Skinner's faced 18 shots, saved 14. So they're even on shots. And I'm looking right here, and Draisaitl's a -3. So it ain't, when Draisaitl, one of your main players, a -3, you got problems.
Look, this is, I have a soft spot for Canadian hockey. I really do. So those who know me know I have a place in Canada. I love Canada. Now screw Quebec. Frenchies go away, but the rest of the country can.
Wow.
Poutine and Tim Hortons, Big Ben.
Poutine's delicious, but forget the French. We need. Look, I live in a state with French, German, and Indian fusion. Figure that crap out. So, end of the day, what I'm trying to tell you is, give me a Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Ottawa if I have to. But, Montreal, screw those guys. But look, This is ridiculous. Calgary, I guess. What is the deal? I mean, like, these guys live, breathe. I go to the bait shop when I'm in Canada to go fishing.
Yep.
And the bait shop lady, who's retiring this year from her bait shop, is talking about the freaking Stanley Cup Finals, just hoping maybe Edmonton, who is, no lie, like a day's drive, like 12 hours away from where we're staying, hoping maybe these poor Canucks can maybe find a championship in their Maple Leaf State. And Florida, freaking Miami, Florida, taking a Stanley Cup from them.
It's just like college ball, man. You bring a sport down to the Southeast, give them a few years, we show you all how to play.
Except when the Thrashers couldn't draw the attendance and they had to ship them back to north to Canada.
You know what? A lot of that blame falls on Danny Heatley, but I digress.
Danny Heatley, really?
How
about
Atlanta
in general?
That incident started a spiral for the Thrashers. That was the catalyst to the downfall of the Thrashers, and I'll argue that all day long. But Preds, Canes, Lightning, the Panthers, give me a break. The Southeast rules the freaking hockey world. You kidding me?
Ignored the Hurricanes.
Monsters of the South.
You said the Canes.
We ain't even got ice. But we still better than the Canadians.
I mean, the fact that this team has flown.
Your average Southeast gentleman doesn't even know what a blue line is. It's ridiculous.
Right?
So,
hey, I want to throw this just real quick. So Athens actually just got a hockey team. It's going to be in the FPHL, I think it is what it is, or the PFHL or whatever. But they just announced the name a couple of weeks ago, and I just found out about it. And you know how the B-52s are from Athens, Georgia? Well, the hockey team is going to be in Rock. The Rock Lobster.
Oh,
yes. So shout out to Athens for getting that one right, because I'm stoked that we're going to be at the inaugural game.
Nice.
Thank you, Charlie, for supporting hockey in the South.
Yeah,
God
absolutely.
All right. Well, look, let's go to a different section here. I'm going to transition to baseball. Look, I know this is our Papa Bacon's favorite topic, but a little buy and sell I'm going to hit you guys with. Look, we've got some teams that are nobody picked to be where they are right now. You know, when I left you guys, some guys we had pretty unanimous selections for who was going to be relevant, who wasn't going to be relevant. So I want to do some buy sell right away. Buy sell. Do you buy the Yankees right now are the best team in the East?
No.
Papa, start us out.
I'm going to say yes, just because they're the Yankees. I don't follow the American League East as closely as I do say the National League, NL Central.
Right.
But they have those cycles where they're crap for a little bit, and then all of a sudden they come out and they're gangbusters for like 5 years in a row or whatever. This could be their time. I'll say yes, but I mean I like the Orioles too. But this just could be one of those years where the Yankees end up coming out on top and the Orioles, make a splash as a wild card team. So,
okay, Adam.
No, it's the Orioles. They have one of the best rosters and young rosters in baseball. This team is on the rise, and you take a look at the standings. The Yankees are 49-22. The Orioles are 45-23. Right, like they still have plenty of games to play in both stadiums, both the hitters' ballparks. And with all due respect to what the Yankees are doing, Luis Hill, I got some rookie cards of his. He's having a fantastic emergence. Cortez needs to do what he needs to do. Stroman is not an elite strikeout guy. And again, we'll see if this is the best starters the Yankees have had in many, many years. But you still have to go against the powerhouses of an offense that the Orioles have. And Westberg's been great for them, but they still have Jackson Holiday in AAA, who did not do well when he came up here and needs to get a little bit more time in AAA. They have still young studs they can call upon. Cole Irvin hasn't been bad. They traded for Corbin Burns, who I I love Corbin Burns, but I did not think he'd be succeeding in Camden Yards the way that he is. So shout out to Corbin Burns. But I do think when we're all said and done, this could be a 1 or 2 game gap, but I still think it's the Orioles.
All right, let's play this game. Let's play this angle. So the Yankees are leading the division right now. Baltimore Orioles are 9 games clear in the AL wild card as the first team. That is insane. But the fact that I think is the crazy fact is that if you look at the 3 wild card teams right now, it is Baltimore 9 up on the cut line. Kansas City is 3 up on the cut line. The Twins are the last team in. The Boston Red Sox, who are 12 and they're 13 games back in the division, are 1 1/2 games out of a wild card spot. So even if the Yankees and the Orioles run away with that division, there is a chance with how well Boston is playing 10 games back in their own division that they may still make the playoffs as a wild card team.
No, we suck. Stop it.
I'm come on. I'm the AL or the NL Central. Me and Aaron are like the.
Have you
NL Central
seen our
just
roster? Name me anyone on the Red Sox not named Duran, Tyler O'Neill, and Devers. Don't worry, I'll wait because I don't know who the freak we have on our team that's doing so well.
They're 1.5 games out of the wild card spot.
We have no pitching. Stop it. The Rangers will get back there.
I'm being an optimist here. I'm trying to help you out, but I think the Orioles are going to pull.
The biggest surprise are the Rangers and the Astros. Yeah. That's the biggest surprise of the AL to me.
That's not a surprise. That's not a surprise.
Calm down, Braves fan. We'll get to the NL.
Hey, the Yankees, the Orioles and the Yankees are 2 very strong contenders this season. They are both stacked with hitting. They both have got pitching. And look, Stroman doesn't have to be a strikeout king to be effective. He's a get-it-done pitcher. That's what he does, and he's getting it done.
He's a ground ball pitcher.
He's a get-it-done pitcher. He's getting it done. At the end of the day, what you want? You want 10 Ks or you want the win? At the end of the day, you want the win. Fuck the Ks. It doesn't matter. Good pitchers get it done. Good pitchers get it done.
So
strikeouts are for fantasy, Adam. They're for fantasy. That's it.
So the Orioles
are fantasy sports guy in my Red Sox.
They're close. Look, the teams are close. The Yankees have the pedigree, and they are in first place, so I give them the edge right now. Adam, you said, you talk about the offense on the Orioles. It is incredible. They've got some young guys. God, Gunnar is having an amazing season. But, dude, the Yankees offense is stacked, too. They got the Judge. They got Soto, and this is like the real Juan Soto, not like the Soto that we saw last year that made the Padres want to get rid of him and kick him out of town, even though he's one of the best players in the league.
Yep,
I mean,
Soto's
look, I think Volpe is not, doing great. You've got Stanton, who, he's probably going to hit for 205, but every time he hits the ball, somebody's going to score, so he's a valuable piece. The Riz has been doing great. He's having one of his best seasons offensively.
The Riz.
All of these guys, dude. This is a stacked lineup.
We're too old and married to have Riz, Charlie.
Wow.
Wow. Look, I don't know what y'all talking about. All I know Riz is a baseball player and a rapper. I don't know anything else.
Here's a quick stat to bring up here. Quick stat. Run differential. Yankees are plus 127. The Orioles are plus 107. The Guardians are plus 90. Everybody else is plus. There's only 7 teams in the AL that are plus in run differential.
Can somebody walk me through the Guardians, please? They don't make any sense.
I told y'all, when we talked about the opening the baseball season, how does this not make sense? They were good last season. They're going to be good this season. They haven't changed that much.
They have
but here's the problem, though. The Guardians
Ramirez.
Yeah. Look, Jose Ramirez is an absolute freak. Period.
He is.
Like, Jose Ramirez is an absolute freak. What I don't get
I love J. Ram.
is how the Guardians keep finding pitching.
Oh my!
Guardians.
Tell me about it.
Like the Guardians, number one, have the worst name and logo in baseball, bar none. And it's not even close. It's a worse knockoff of the '90s Angels, and it's terrible. Like it's just bad. But like Tristan McKenzie does not do leg day. Carlos Carrasco's hanging out for dear life. Logan Allen, Tanner Bibby, like this is how are these guys? I'm with you on that, but look.
We need to go back to the
Jose
Carlos
Ramirez,
Carrasco take here
Steven
after the show.
That's fine. Like, end of the day.
Kidding.
End of the day. Stephen Kwan, Josh Naylor, Jose Ramirez. Those three guys hit better than half the freaking league by themselves.
Add Jimenez in there too. Kwan and
fair.
Jimenez are good contact guys that'll get on base.
Kwan's
but
freaking 380 right now for batting average.
He's a
insane.
great hitter. Great
So,
contact
Again, just
hitter.
a good on base guy that'll get you hits. Doesn't need to get there with power. You let guys like Bo Naylor and Jose Ramirez do the power hitting, and it's like when the Red Sox won in 2018. They did it with singles and doubles. They did not have to do it with power. They just kept getting on base, get on base, get on base.
No one
get on
cared
base.
with the Red Sox, but anyway. No, I hear you though. You're right.
I
But-
give you a little bit of. What? I take back everything I said about the Packers. I'm
I
kidding.
love that. I love that. But here's my take for you. More than where the Guardians come from, where the hell did the Royals come from?
No kidding.
40 and
Bobby
30
Witt, baby.
with a plus 60 run differential. Bobby Witt's great. I get it.
McHale.
But I mean, let's go through this depth chart for a second. Just tell me who you guys
not
actually
good.
know.
Higgins.
Cole Ray,
Yes,
Seth,
Cole Reagans,
Seth
let's
Lugo.
go.
Yeah.
Brady Singer,
Yep.
Alec
Yep.
Marsh,
Ew.
James MacArthur,
Who?
Vinny Pasquantino,
Yep.
Miguel Garcia, Garrett
Yeah,
Hampson,
baby.
Hampton.
MJ Melendez,
Yep.
Kyle Isbell. Like what?
Hunter Renfro.
Hunter
Yep.
Renfro, like the dude's a career
know.
230 hitter. I mean,
But he
look,
smashes lefties.
he does smash lefties. I'll give you that. But Chris
Well-
Stratton, Will Smith, Angel Zerpa, and Nick Anderson in your bullpen, like, and Salvador
Who is
Perez
Angel
hanging on for
Zerpa?
dear life to his career. The Royals are look. I like the Royals. They're my one Missouri team I adopted when I lived down there. I love it. I don't get it, but I love it.
Nice.
This is a trash heap of a division, and you have the Royals and the Guardians somehow running the dang thing. The White Sox suck horribly.
Oh,
Twins
they're so
are-
bad.
The Twins are a 500 road team, which is what you need to be, and they're a little above 500 at home. This should be the Twins division based on rosters. The Twins have the best roster in the
Yep.
division, but they are just kind of hanging around. They're 7.5 games behind the Guardians.
They're very inconsistent.
Yep.
They're wildly inconsistent with a 10-run differential so far this season.
You know what's really
there's the Tigers
interesting?
who are young and figuring things out.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about the Twins? They just put up 17 runs the other night, I think. And then can absolutely freaking disappear. Why can't you be consistent?
Hey,
I don't
don't forget on the Royals. Good old Michael Waka, formerly of the St. Louis Cardinals,
Coming back.
is on their IL right now, but he's in their
Coming back.
rotation.
Yeah,
He's
and Seth
throwing.
Lugo.
They said he was throwing today, I think. Or he's set to
Seth
throw.
Lugo
He's
is
scheduled to
relevant,
throw.
ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, but Ben, no, look, I would have told you two of those guys at the beginning of the season. As a matter of fact, I think I said Riggins. We talked about that at the beginning of the season, but I would have told you those top two guys. Those are the only guys that were going to be really successful in this pitching staff. But the offense has been insane. Bobby Witt Jr. is having a hell of a season. He's having a career year, and I don't know if we've seen the best of him yet. This
is his second year in the majors, I think.
That kid, third, I think. Is third year player?
It's either second or third, but the kid is super young, and he's a superstar in the making.
Miguel Garcia's playing third. He is doing absolutely incredible at the plate this season. That's kind of come a little bit out of nowhere. But, well, I don't know. I think some folks kind of saw that might happen. They've just been putting it together. And, to that point, it's a weak division. So, when you got to think the mentality there, like, if we can just put this together, we can take this down. That's what they're trying to do.
Just think of the stats for a second, all right? Bobby Witt Jr. this year, 330 average, 11 homers,
something runs,
50 RBIs, and a 943 OPS.
Yeah.
It's insane. He is having a season.
He's got a 564 slugging percentage. And we're 70 games in.
How many stolen bases does he have?
He has 19 stolen bases.
19 stolen bases. This is a 5-tool player right there, man.
He's something else.
Does it all.
So if you drew
that's your number one fantasy pick next
go ahead and
season.
capitalize now while you can, guys, because that's going to be good money right there.
Yeah, that and the Wemby cards.
Yeah.
Let's move to the NL, Ben, because I think the NL is really interesting.
Not yet. I've got to crap on the Astros while I can.
Mariners.
I've got to crap on the Astros while I can. TJ, I hope you're watching. I hope you're listening, because your Astros are about to get crapped down with a big old 300-pound deuce. The AL West.
Wow.
Defending champions Texas Rangers are 32-35.
Yep.
The Houston Astros are 31-38. Buy or sell, gentlemen.
Sell.
The AL West sucks hind tit in the American League this year.
Pull up the biggest dumpster you can find me and light the biggest fire you can. Because if the Mariners are the only team, right now, to get into the wild card, the Rangers have to leapfrog the Rays, Blue Jays, Tigers, and Red Sox. And I have no clue. No. This division is horrible this year. And fine. Let the West be won by the National League, because that's what's going to happen, because we'll get there, but the Dodgers are on fire. The AL West is a dumpster fire, period.
But Seattle is – I am totally buying Seattle. And I've been on this. They're putting together a team. They've got one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. They really do. So it's no surprise to me that they've got 40 wins. I'm still buying on Texas, the Rangers. They're a solid team. They've had a couple of hiccups, a couple of guys get banged up.
They've had injuries.
And stuff. So that's a factor. And I think, they looked stronger the second half of the season last year as well. I don't see any reason why that can't repeat itself. Houston, that's another team that, off to a slow start. Bregman, he always takes a little bit to warm up for whatever reason. Right. They've got a couple of other hitters like that. They seem to start getting cooking about, once the temperature rises, some of these guys, will loosen up.
It's already rising
up a little bit. Yeah, but it's still like the humid part of the season. Give them another few weeks until it gets a little
here's
bit,
the deal.
Jar. But no, we knew that the bottom two teams were going to be terrible. And a lot of this division is yet to really play each other, I think. So wins are going to be coming for the Rangers and the Astros, I think. Seattle's going to keep on cooking, though. I'm buying the top two teams, though. I think
buying the Rangers. I'm selling the Astros. When you have a roster that consists of Heim, Lowe, Simeon, Josh Smith, Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, and a young Wyatt Langford, let alone Evan Carter and Tavares. I'm sorry, that's like 7 of 9 players that should be dangerous in any freaking lineup. I understand their pitching isn't great. Scherzer's on the IL. Eovaldi's fine. Gray, Dunning, and Heaney are But, like, I'm sorry. Your offense should be a heck of a lot better than what we've been seeing.
All right. So, the Rangers against teams that are under 500 are 7-13. The Astros against teams that are under 500 are 8-21.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
They can't win against the basement. They're winning against the good teams.
That's bad for the Astros.
That's
sad.
8-21. I mean, 7-13. That's 20 games, but that's almost 30 game sample for the Astros, and
really
they've won 8 of the 29 they've played against under 500 teams.
Can we all cheer for the homeless? Let's go A's.
Let's go Sacramento. Is that what we're cheering now?
Let's go A's. Going to the National League. I'm going to puke in my mouth for 1 second. Bear with me. Are the Phillies the best team somehow in the National League this year? Buy or sell? Aaron, please start us off.
I don't know if they're the best team in the National. I mean, you got the Dodgers and you have the Braves, who I think are still gonna. For some reason, I feel like the Braves are still gonna come around and end up winning that division. But I mean, right now I want to throw up a little bit in my mouth too, because I hate Philly. But yeah, they are a hell of a team. But I'm gonna sell that they're gonna be end up being the best team in the National League.
That's a coin toss one for me, because they've built up a 10 game. They're 46-22 versus the Braves are 36-30. But here's the big stat. Let's go back to run differential again. Phillies are plus 103. The Braves are plus 28. I mean, I watched the Mets Philly series over the weekend in London, or the Mets Philly series in London. I mean, they both have good teams, and I think that's what's frustrating for me, looking at it from outside of being an NL Central apologist, is the Mets on paper should not be where they are in the standings. I thought they played really well. I mean, the one game was not as good as the other one, but
yeah.
I thought the Mets looked decent. I think they should have, been better than they are. But once again, I think the white hot spotlight of New York can cause people to get a little bit, skitterish. I'm buying the Phillies. I think they're going for the division.
Steve, do you not know who the Mets are? It doesn't matter what that trash can of a team looks like on paper. They always suck. They don't know how to get it done as an organization. Like, come on now.
I thought
Come
this was
on.
the
Get
year.
out of here with that
I
shit.
thought this was the year. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is the year for their collapse to start as early as it possibly could. I'm going to
The
tell you what,
Mets-
though. I am not buying the Phillies
The
as the
Mets
best team in the
had their
National
chance with
League.
David Wright, Jose Reyes.
Oh,
Like
boy.
that was their chance.
Yeah,
Those
I'm
are
not
the
buying
years.
the Phillies.
Yeah.
I'm selling the Phillies.
No.
I think the
Dodgers
Phillies will
are
make
better.
the wild card. I think the Phillies
the
will make the
Dodgers?
wild card. I think the Phillies are going to be a big point, but I'm selling the Phillies. If you can get plus odds on the Braves to win the division and being possibly the best team in the NL, buy. Why? Because here's your Braves roster: Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, Albies, Riley, overrated, Arcia, Kelnick, sneaky pickup, Harris, and Ozuna.
Whoa!
The problem is you lost your best hitter in Acuna to a torn ACL. I get it,
Not a problem.
but you have Chris Sale, one of the front runners for the Cy Young this year, in my opinion. What a resurgence he had. Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Ronaldo Lopez, he's been something else. And then Bryce Elder, he's fine. That team is going to bounce back. That team, summertime, with that kind of power, it's going to be the summer of the Braves offense. Buy the Braves, sell the Phillies.
So I want to believe. I hate the Phillies. Hate Philadelphia sports. Hate them. more than I hate Boston sports. That's saying something, guys.
I don't have to be here, Ben. All right.
I love you, buddy. Hate your teams.
Uh,
But
Boston.
By the way, folks, this is the first time Ben and I have done a show in 2 months, so there's a little bit of built up there. We got to get some of the jabs in. It's all good. It's all love. It's all love. It's all love.
all love. I assure you. But look, this Phillies team, they got horses winning freaking races with their long-haired rednecks. They've got like stupid freaking juju going on right now that I don't understand. Like those freaking white trash morons in Philadelphia have got something figured out. I can't figure. I don't get it.
Yep.
Like if karma was real, the Phillies would suck. The Eagles would suck.
Yep.
Karma's not real. Philadelphia is proof.
Yep.
And that's where I fall with all of this. The Phillies can go no. Now the Braves should win this division. They should. They've underachieved to this point. Austin Riley is not overrated, by the way. This is a great team, a great hitting team. And my only question for the Braves is, can your bullpen survive late in the season? That's all I want to see from them. The rotation's good enough. The bats are good enough.
Back, that'll help.
So I want to see that part. The Phillies, I don't understand it. I don't need to understand it. I just hate those blankety blanks all day long. So
it's an easy team to hate.
Like my look, guys. Here we go. I'm gonna pull on Adam for a second. If I have my microphone, I'll do it right here. If why I hate the Phillies, my first playoff experience as a Brewers fan, the Phillies broke my heart. Okay, broke my freaking heart. Screw those guys. Ryan Howard, go to hell. Like all Chase Utley, you're a dick. Like all those Phillies guys. I hate them.
We got a Chase Utley reference in 2024.
Guys.
So I am done.
For all you young kids, Chase Utley was fantastic. Like
I got a friend who named their kid after
right
him.
Wow. Like it's just. And by the way, I drafted Bobby Abreu every freaking year in fantasy because he scored me points, and I hated myself for it. Hated myself for it. Screw the Phillies. Anyway,
I just so y'all know, as a Braves fan, last night I did leave out some captain and some white owls for old Jobu with my Braves hat with them. So they were gone this morning when I woke up. So I'm just saying this is probably why the Braves won today, and they're about to storm down the castle that is Philly.
Now, the only team I hate more than the Phillies, we're going to talk about here in a second, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep.
They suck. So the NL Central, it's your turn. The St. Louis Cardinals, I would love to see go play in the freaking penal leagues, Mexican leagues, Dominican leagues. Go away. I hate your asses.
The penal leagues.
So, please, I hate the Cardinals, but they're somehow in second place right now because our division sucks horribly.
Yeah.
And the Brewers, though, in all seriousness, are somehow we look great. Our pitching is down to our second set of 5 in our rotation.
Yep.
And we're still holding pattern. Our bullpen's one of the best in the league. Our young hitters are proving to be good. Our team is holding up. A plus 61 run differential. And I love saying this part, the Cubs suck. But to address our friend in the group, the Cubs being a piece or two away is not a bad take. And I'll tell you why for 1 second before I move to the panel here. The Cubs have the bats. We saw that last year. We've seen that in pieces this year. Yep. When the Cubs are healthy, they have bats that can hit the ball. The Cubs pitching was my question before the season, my question now. They can't keep runs off the board consistently enough to compete in this division and compete in the National League. So that's where I'll tell you that, Combs, your team's not that far off. But you're also not that far off from the cellar, buddy. I'm looking forward to watching it. So the rest of you guys, buy or sell, the NL Central is somehow the most interesting division in baseball this year. Aaron, go ahead.
I would say, I don't know if it's the most interesting, but it's right up there. And if for no other reason, then, I mean, first of all, as a Brewers fan, let me just say I'm enjoying this ride because I didn't expect this. The way Cincinnati came up, and I mean, I thought the Cubs would be better than what they are right now. I thought to myself, if we can make a wild card this season, I would be happy. And here we are, 12 games over 500. We're 7 games up in the division. What does make this division interesting, and I mean, first of all, I hope this continues. I'm like I said, I'm really enjoying this, but I have a feeling a couple teams are gonna at least close the gap with the Brewers. What makes it really, really fun though right now is that the other 4 teams are so close together that, like, from one day to the next, one team can be in second and all of a sudden they're in 5th because they lose a game and everyone else wins, and it's that close. I mean, I think the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are tied at 7 games back, and then is it Pittsburgh that's 7.5?
You got a 6.5, a 7, a 7.5, and an 8.
They're all within a game and a half of each other.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what, if you're talking about interesting in that way, sure. I think there's other divisions that are, I mean, like the AL East, I would say would be more interesting because they have so many teams or a couple teams fighting it out at the top. Same with the NL East with Philly and the Braves, if they can, get things going. But it is, I mean, to me, and I'm extremely biased here, obviously being a Brewers fan, but it's fun. I mean, to me, it's the most fun that I didn't think I'd be having this much fun in June. When they got off to a good start and were leading the division in April, I was like, okay, it's April. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. And then all of a sudden May goes around and they're still in the lead, and now they're 7 up in or 6.5, whatever it is right now. In June, we're almost halfway through June, so it's like, holy crap. I mean, maybe this Brewers team is for real. The only thing that concerns me is that there are times when I feel like their bats go incredibly cold, and they'll have. I mean, you look at the Philly series that they just finished about a week ago. They get swept, and they score 2 runs the whole season. Now the Phillies have one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball, so you get that. But at the same time, their bats, I think a couple of those games they only had like 2 hits each game. I mean, they couldn't even get a hit, for crying out loud. So that's the one thing. Their pitching is there. And I guess my one other concern, and then I'll let the rest of you guys talk, is, their pitching staff, like you said, Ben, they have one of the best bullpens in baseball right now. I just hope that can also stand up. That's the one thing with all the injuries they've gotten. It's like, okay, is their luck gonna run out here before they can wrap up this division or wrap up a wild card spot or whatever? So, Adam, what do you think?
Before I go
sorry,
to Adam. Sorry, Adam. To add to your
So-
point here, Devin Williams comes back in the next few weeks as well. And you add Trevor Miguel being one of the best closers right now. You add Devin Williams to that mix. And you also have Abner Uribe currently in AAA, who struggled early in the season with attitude and other problems. This bullpen's only going to get better as the season goes on, which is
I hope you're right.
Crazy to think about. Sorry, Adam, go ahead now.
You're fine. So to address Combsy's point, here's how I look at the Cubs. Steele is great, and Managa's going to be a front runner, probably up there with Chris Sale for the Cy Young. He's had a very underrated season. I think he's still got a sub-2 ERA. For a good chunk of the season, he had a sub-1 ERA, and he's just not getting any kind of love. I described the Cubs as glass because that roster scares me. If it's not Bellinger, or Suzuki, Tauchman's a good addition. Happ is Swanson is not good. Morel has been a surprise. Horner's good. But, they're either going to do really well or start selling them for more established players, because I say glass because they're either going to break the glass ceiling and go high, or sell because some of these players just drop off. They're really weird when you just kind of like, I'm sitting back in my chair just kind of thinking about it. The Brewers are a surprise. I love Devin Williams, by the way. Like, when you get him back there, and he was a front runner for closer a couple seasons ago. Like, he's got a ton of talent. The Brewers, I think, should be looking at, if I just pull up their depth chart here really quickly. And by the way, in regards to the Cardinals, no. Arenado, great player. Goldschmidt, great player. They're going to be Hall of Famers there, I think, at the downward swing of their careers. The Brewers, with all due respect, guys, all you have is Freddie Peralta. But like William Contreras, smash. Terang, what a resurgence he's had out of nowhere this year.
Yep.
Adames, underrated. He's okay. You've got guys like Yelich, obviously. If Yelich can do well, fine. Frelick, second year. Rhys Hoskins at DH. I still think Jake Bowers is pretty good. Weimer can do things. Perkins isn't half bad. Like, you got some players, but I think if I'm the Brewers, buy some established talent. Like Wood, let me put it this way. I know it's an in-division trade. I know the contract probably isn't the greatest. Would you go try and get Arenado for cheap at third?
No. I'll tell you why. Joey Ortiz has been a revelation at third base for us this year. Look at his stats on WAR in general. Joey Ortiz in our overall mix at third base has been competitive and even beating Arenado currently this year statistically. Now, we need pitching. If you're looking at the Brewers team, to your point, we have Peralta in the rotation. We are beat up so bad in the rotation. If the Brewers can get, I'll say, J.P. Sears, Garrett Crochet, someone in that vein.
Sears isn't going to cost you much because the A's are going to continue to build. Sears isn't going to cost you much unless they really feel good about him. I really like J.P. Sears. Crochet, I don't know if the White Sox are going to sell him, but I think he'd be a good get. But yeah, if you can build a 2-3 around Peralta, I don't think that's a bad thing. Because I mean, like, Eunice is on the IL, Hall's on the IL, Joe Ross, who's okay. Colin Ray is not good. Like, who else do you guys have?
Numbers, though. Adam, look at Colin Ray's numbers this year.
He's fake. He's been terrible throughout his career.
But he's been good this year. He's a, 3.48 ERA right now?
And 48 strikeouts. And a 1.26
Who
whip.
cares with strikeouts unless you're in fantasy? The guy's getting wins. The guy is pitching to a point where you have a game you can hand over to the bullpen who's going to win games for you. Joe Ross, same thing. The guy has been pitching above his career levels all year this year when he's healthy.
I think Joe Ross is underrated, if you want my honest opinion.
I agree with you. He was a 5-starter in Washington, but he's been a solid 3 for us.
So who do you have else besides Peralta, like an actual name? Like, I know there's a bunch of guys that are in.
Woodruff is hurt for the year. That's gone. Aaron Ashby.
That was the other one that I was thinking of. Woodruff. Okay.
So we traded Corbin Burns.
Yep.
But we got Ortiz and Hall in that trade.
Yeah.
So right now the Brewers rotation is a lot of young guys coming up. So you're not going to. Rodriguez came up and had his first start. Koenig came up at his first start. You have. I'm blanking right now. I'm sorry, but we've got a bunch of guys that freaking Pollock name. I can't think of his name right now. Look, I'm Polish. I can say that crap, okay?
I'm half Polish. I understand.
Mizorowski or something like that.
Anyway,
one of our top 5 prospects, but he's been balling in the minors. He's going to come up at some point this year as well. We've got these guys lined up that are coming through, and they're making spot starts for us. The whole thing has been we've had guys stepping up, making starts they shouldn't be making that are getting us 2 wins. What I'm trying to say is we're winning games we shouldn't. What that tells me is that we should fall off. If I'm being objective,
yes,
the Brewers should fall off at some point, unless, to your point, we get established names into the rotation to establish behind Peralta. So if we get a JP Sears, if we get a Crochet, if we get an innings eater, insert name here, I don't care who it is. It could be that around that like vein of an Eovaldi, for example. It won't be Eovaldi, but in that same vein.
Right.
That's what we need right now to make this
just
team.
Get to the bullpen. Right.
Just get me through 5, and we can take the rest of the way through the bullpen.
Yeah. I think Sears makes sense, but I mean, if you can make a splash for like anyone else that's just a veteran starter, because like you think about it, Peralta's a veteran. We don't know if Woodruff's even with the team. Just get a veteran who's really good and to help mentor the young guys.
Right.
Mentoring is something that I don't think is talked about really too much in sports in general. I mean, you know, you can go look what Horford's done for the Celtics. You can say what Rodgers might be doing for the Jets. Like, get a veteran that can, well, but the first veteran names I could think of. Get a veteran that can really boost up your talent. Maybe get some of the young guys' egos to go away and realize that there's more to it than just you. It is a team sport. But we'll let Steve get to the Pirates because we got.
You really are you going to let me talk about my other dumpster fire of
all of 5 seconds?
I mean, here's the thing.
We are though.
I'm kidding. Yeah, we're getting a little late though.
It's Paul Skeens versus the world at this point. I mean, anytime Paul Skeens shows up, or even Jared Jones, it makes big news around here. And you talk about the veteran leadership on a team. You have Aroldis Chapman. You have Andrew McCutchen here in town. It's not making a difference. It is the same. I mean, you're talking about teams blowing leads. I mean, there's days I don't get to see the games and I'm watching the score ticker. Pirates leading. And the 8th inning comes around and guess what? Pirates lose. So, hey, we're just used to it around here. You go to a Pirate game for the experience. You don't go to watch a win. If they win, it's just luck of the draw. I will say this. When push comes to shove, don't count the Reds out.
Yeah.
If the chips fall their way, I think the Reds, and you're all going to think I'm crazy, but I think come September, it's going to be a 2-team battle, Brewers and Reds for the division title. I think the Cardinals are going to be there, but I think the Brewers have shown all the way we're here in June already that they've got the will, but the Reds, once again, they're like the Pirates, except they're in reverse. The Pirates are the ones that falter. The Reds are the ones that are winning. I think the Reds have a very serious chance of winning the division. If not, I think Reds will be playing postseason ball this year.
Well, we got a big series coming up against them this weekend, actually. So,
and Steve, you're right, man. So the Reds, the thing too, and let me give y'all a quick little hot take. To answer the original question, yes, this division may be the most exciting division in baseball right now. Not just because there's, 3 teams stacked to, a game and a half between each other. And then you've got, the one guys at the top who are probably going to tank here very, very soon. But here's my take. The 2 teams that are leading that at the top of this division right now will both be at the bottom in the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers by the time this season is over. And these young guns who are getting healthier and getting guys back are going to come up. You've got a Chicago Cubs team that is definitely only a couple pieces away from being, in a playoff team. I will not say a World Series contender. I think the Cubs is a team that can get to the playoffs. Probably not win a series, but they're a piece or 2 away from being a steady playoff team. The Cincinnati Reds, look, they've got a young core, and part of that young core is missing right now. You've got Marte, who is suspended, who's coming back. McLean, who is injured. Marte comes back at the end of June. McLean, I think, has a shot to come back this season. And then you've got Ellie De La Cruz and these other guys on here. Some great young pitching. Some of the pitching is still trying to figure it out a little bit, but when this team puts all the pieces together, whoo, they're going to be good. And they are very, very exciting. And it's the same thing over on the Pirates. You got O'Neill. You've got a great veteran in McCutchen that can teach these guys how to play. One of the most exciting pitchers in baseball, and their starting rotation is actually a really good rotation. The only thing that the Pirates' problem is they've got horrible bullpen woes right now.
Yep.
And if they can get that figured out before the trade line, watch out, because here comes the Bucks. You've got, I mean, seriously, a stack of teams, a game and a half apart from each other, and they're all young, they're all hungry, and honestly, they're all more talented than the Cardinals and the Brewers. And when the end of the season rolls around, these whole standings, telling you, they're going to be flipped. They're going to be flipped.
Want to like you,
Brewers,
Charlie.
Cardinals fans, enjoy it now. Enjoy it now.
Charlie,
Because
Can I
we
just
got
say
the Mets and the Marlins of the Central.
Can I just say one last thing? I tell you one thing, Brewers fans. One of my favorite Pirates this year, Rowdy Tellez, however you guys say it.
Tellez.
I love Rowdy. I love Rowdy.
Have fun with those strikeouts. Charlie, I want to like you, but you're making it really hard right now. Tell you what, buddy,
Hey, man, I just tell it like it is, brother.
you tell it like you see it. I don't know if that's how it is. But go ahead and give us what you got for fantasy baseball trade deadline advice.
Yeah, absolutely. So the trade deadlines in fantasy baseball are starting to roll around. Most leagues, you've got a couple more weeks. Some leagues, you'll be coming up right now. And then, in some of those roll the dice leagues, you might still be about a month out. But this is the time. You've got guys coming off of injury, got guys that are getting healthier. You got guys that trends are starting to become more realistic outlooks of what could come. So now is the time to go after players that you believe in, that some other people may be losing faith in, as well as now's the time to kind of clean out some of those rosters. Ben and I, we actually made a trade earlier this week. I have a pitcher coming back from the IR, but my pitching staff is stellar as it is. So I went through I've sent out many trades over the last week to try to move that, use that as a sweetener to get somebody that I felt could help my team. I ended up getting Corbin, so I was pretty good, pretty excited about that. That'll give me some strength and some space.
Corbin Carroll, not Patrick Corbin.
Carroll. Yeah, no, not Patrick Corbin. Corbin Carroll. Which is a kid who can rattle off all 11 dudes that were drafted before him. So if that ain't a player to believe in, I don't know what is. But it's a really good time to start sending out a bunch of trades to kind of move players. You've got guys like, I'll use Austin Riley for an example, because I actually have Austin Riley on a couple of teams. And myself personally, even though I'm a Braves fan, it's kind of losing faith in him from a fantasy standpoint. So I'd like to move him. I know other guys, I've already moved him in one league. I know other players who, feel like the bounce back is coming. I felt that way about Matt Olson a little bit ago. I traded Vladdy for Olson earlier this season. And the reason is, and this is what you guys have got to look at for some of these guys when you're making decisions on who to go after. Don't just look at the stats, look at the metrics. Olson's hard hit rate is absolutely insane. The fact that he hasn't put up more numbers this season is just bad luck at this point, if you look at all of his metrics. So the uptick is coming. So those are the players that you really want to target right now. A lot of people are going to start to lose faith in some of the pitchers. And so those are the guys that you want to go after. Just kind of the best thing you want to do is know who you're playing with. Try to feel them out. Try to start conversations in the chat if you're playing with, in a league where there's some randos or something like that. Get a feel for, who it is. When I looked at Ben's roster and I wanted to make a trade, realistically, the guy that I really wanted to trade for is actually a Brewer. And I felt to myself, no, I'm not going to go after him because I feel like Ben's price is going to be way too high on it, because there's going to be a level of personal interest in that player as well. So I started, sending him trade offers for two other guys that I was interested in. And that's the thing, if people, if somebody counters, keep going. If somebody sends you a counter to a trade, they don't accept the first trade, never accept the first trade. Nobody ever comes out with their best offer first, unless you're just new to the game. But
right.
I've gotten some trades before where it's like, have you ever played this before? But if somebody counters, keep going, keep rolling. You don't like to counter, send something else. Trade, man, all it is negotiation. And a player, somebody may tell you, oh, this guy's off the table, but everybody's for sale for the right price when it comes to sports. So just remember that. So just right now, you've got time. This is your last chance to make your team better, to make your team a contender, for a championship. And if that's not what you're looking for, why are you even playing fantasy sports? So right now is the time. So look at your metrics. Know who you're trading with. Be relentless. Don't give up. There's always a deal to be had. And just, kind of think to yourself, who do you believe in? Go after the people that you believe in. Your fantasy roster is always more fun to root for if you bring in a guy that you really like.
Now, thank you for that. We're going to transition here to a little section that, I talked a little bit before, being that we are a bacon brand, if you will. Papa Bacon's talked before about this being we want to work towards at some point. But Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it 5 on high, 4 on high? How'd you phrase that?
4 minutes on high.
So part of the idea here, guys, is we're going to go through, and I'm going to try and segment us out here where we're going to give each guy a few shots here to kind of highlight some things in a few minutes where we're going to kind of hit what's hot on our heads right now. And I'm going to go through, and you know what? I'll start us off here on this one just as we kind of get going on this. And I'm going to shoot over to Adam next, and we'll go through the categories here. We're going to talk what's hot in our minds. And we'll kind of close the show this way. It's a little different than we've done in the past, but I want to go through it in this fashion if you guys are okay with that. So for my few minutes here on high, those of you who've been following the Bacon brand here for the last year plus, you may have seen me on the show for quite a while. You may have noticed I've been gone the last few months. And what I wanted to highlight here is I took some time away to focus on my mental health. I had some issues going on that I was trying to take care of. And I want to really encourage everybody here just to take the time. If you've got something going on, use the resources available to you. A lot of employers do offer free resources. If you don't have resources for your employer or otherwise, a lot of churches and other pieces available to you are going to be there that you can utilize. But if you need help, find that help you need, because mental health is so critical to everything we're doing. Whether it's as a dad, a husband, just a person. And, being part of Dads of Bacon has been some of the best parts of my life this last year plus. But I had to take time away to make sure I was giving the best parts of myself to Dads of Bacon as well. Make sure I'm giving you guys what I want to present here and make sure I'm giving the right energy to this as well. So I want to take a minute here to say, if you're struggling at all with anything on that side of things, I know usually we're here to have fun, be a little more lighthearted, but I wanted to take a moment just to highlight this aspect of life and say, if you're struggling, I'm not a professional, but you can reach out to me. I'm happy to help you find the resources you need. But definitely reach out and take time, get things right, and get things lined out, because it's one of those things that I know we've seen a lot of things both in sports and in pop culture where people haven't reached out and they found themselves in a bad spot. I can say for myself, these last 2 months have done a lot of good for me, put me in a position where I was able to come back in full force tonight. I'm happy to be back. I'm back full time. I'm very happy to be back. But that's what's got me high tonight. And so I'm going to kick it to Adam here and let him do his few minutes here.
Yeah, so I'm going to piggyback off what Ben said. And, Ben and I could take friendly jobs back and forth. Ben, Charlie, and I, we do the rest of the If We Were Creative Wrestling show. And I've gotten a chance. Charlie and I did the fantasy, our fantasy football stuff with DFS, and then adding Ben in with the wrestling show. And everyone here at Dads of Bacon, it's a great group of guys. So, Ben, I think on behalf of all of us, we could say it's a pleasure to have you back, and we're glad you're doing well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're welcome. So what's gotten me hot? First things first, before I get into what I want to talk about to piggyback off Ben's point, I've started my season-long fantasy football rankings, and as of right now, this is June 13th, 2024, and there was plenty of time to go. I'm going to own Derrick Henry everywhere. I'm going to have him way too freaking high. I think I have him as high as 5 on my rankings. Wherever he is, he's in the top 10. I'm going to have way too much of him, and he is going to be one of my big stands this year. In regards to what Ben's point is, there is someone that I've been following since about 2020, 2021. It is his user handle is Street Taco Eater, and I told him I would give him a shout out. So he is doing something that I think is pretty cool. So I'm not going to go into his entire story here, but he is doing, and I highly recommend everyone goes and listen to his story. It sucks what him and his family went through, but he's got the I Am a Gamer Tour 2024. Let's live the difference. 48 states in 92 days. Per his website, streettacoeater.com. An unprecedented journey, the I'm a Gamer US Tour 2024, where gaming meets mental health in a groundbreaking exploration across the United States. This tour is more than just a road trip. It's a mission to unveil the profound impact of gaming on mental health and emotional well-being. For those of you who have no idea, I'm a Counter-Strike broadcaster or shoutcaster, whatever you call it. I've been in this since 2022, and I would love to do this as a career. I've done Metroid commentary for multiple Metroid titles. I eventually want to get into The Legend of Zelda. I eventually want to get into Earthbound. I want to get into other esports titles as well. There is a lot that I do, and you know what? I love what I do. I may not be the greatest at it, but I freaking love what I do. And for me, I wouldn't call it an escape, but it's a massive passion. And I'm a contracts professional. I've worked in government. I've worked in nonprofit. I've worked in academia. So what I can do on a day-to-day basis can be extremely boring and stressful. But I love video games. It's an escape. I get to hang out with my wife and my family. That's a way to decompress. But video games, you've heard it before. It's an escape. Well, I find it is just, it's fun. I hang out with friends almost every single night, and we play Counter-Strike. Are we the greatest? No! We stink! Well, some of us stink. That's why I cast. But I've been friends with them now for 3 years. I've met them twice in person. I've literally gone to Houston on my DreamHack Dallas trips to go meet them in person. You know what? Good things come out of it, and that's just stuff out of video games. So I highly recommend everyone goes to streettacoeater.com. Listen to Rob's story. He's incredible. I told him, you come to Boston, I want to do content with you. I want to do recorded stuff, because what he's doing for mental health and his 9292 Foundation is so critically important to stuff that the pandemic, even though it's over, brought a ridiculous amount of light to the mental health in general. I was telling the boys before, I left a job due to health reasons that I'm not going to go public with here on air. It was nothing crazy, nothing life-threatening. But as I told it to my employer, it's like, I let it go. I've got to a point where my body's giving me the red flags, and I don't want to get getting any worse. I had to take the time away, and it's like being 2020. I should have just taken a leave of absence, because I haven't been able to find a full-time job in about 3 years, because the market's been that terrible. But that's neither here nor there. I took the time. I recognized it. And you know what I did? I talked to my therapist. I talked to my wife. I talked to my family. If you are struggling, if you have anything mental health related, please go and seek help. I'm going to look directly at the camera rather than the screen. Go and get help. I know there are a lot of therapists out there that are doing a lot of good right now. Go find someone that you can connect with, that you feel good about. And if you don't settle for the first one. Find someone that you connect with. Find a friend that you can connect with. Like Ben said, it could be a church, it could be whatever resource. Find somebody that you feel good about. Talk about it. Don't bottle it up.
Thank you, Adam.
Welcome.
Awesome.
Steve, what's got you on this week, man?
Paul Skeens! No, Paul Skeens. No. I'm going to make this quick. Couple things. Let me lead off. Caitlin Clark. We didn't get to it on the rundown today, but Caitlin Clark, was she snubbed? Depends on who you talk to. But honestly, I think it's going to be a lot cooler in 28 when the Olympics are in the States, and she is going to be the face of Olympic women's basketball. It is going to be awesome. I am been thinking about it. I was upset she was left off the team, looking back on it, I'm like, you know what? Coming 28, it's going to sell tickets like crazy. It is going to be so big for women's basketball. The next 4 years are going to be a rise, and hopefully it's a big, in 28, it's just going to be off the charts. So that's number one. Number two, how in the heck did Mike Tomlin get another 3-year extension in Pittsburgh? I have no idea how this guy.
One of the best coaches in the game.
500, and he keeps his job. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the thing. Let's see how this year goes. I mean, come on. We've got Russell Wilson. We've got a bunch of new Let's see what happens. But when that came out of nowhere, the Steelers signed Tomlin another 3-year extension in the offseason. I'm like, coming off that season, and you're going to sign him. I mean, yes, they made the playoffs. Okay, you made the playoffs. By the skin of your teeth, you made the playoffs. But honestly, he's been on a short leash. And I was blown away that happened. So that's it. And the final thing I'm going to follow up with is I'm not a big golf fan, but I've been watching the U.S. Open. And there's a golfer actually from Pittsburgh. He went to Ohio State. His name's Neil Shipley. He was low amateur at the Masters, if you watch the Masters. And this weekend, take a look at his club head covers. He is playing with an Arby's curly fries club head cover. It is hilarious. You have to see it to believe it.
That's awesome.
Have a great week until we talk again, gentlemen.
So fair to say that Mike Tomlin's the new Marvin Lewis. Good to know. Mike Tomlin's the new Marvin Lewis.
Mike. I mean, you've had 3 main coaches in Steelers history: Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. And that's not going to change anytime soon.
Someone take that. That should be a lead off for next week. Aaron, hop on bacon. What are you?
What's got you hot this week, buddy?
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, let me, Steve, you should be more concerned about bringing in the born again virgin quarterback than re-signing Mike Tomlin doing it on a contract. But anyway, and Adam, to your points, remind me again what's his name? The
StreetTacoEater.com.
I've actually emailed or messaged him back and forth. I was going to say talk to him, but I haven't actually talked to him. But I know his story. I'm familiar with it, and yeah, I would love to meet that guy too. I don't know if he's already been to Wisconsin or not.
Nope,
but I'll have to reach out to him. So would be great to have him on here. And Ben, to your point, yes, number one, it's great to have you back. And I am working right now. And I know I keep saying this. I'm working on the website for dadswithbacon.com. I want to have it up officially by Monday, so June 17th. And I do want to include a section with mental health resources, because I know I've talked to all of you guys in the past about well, maybe not Steve, because Steve just kind of jumped on board here recently, but I'm a big advocate of the military and of veterans and things like that. And so a lot of the things I want to do, a lot of events and things like that as we start to grow, or continue to grow, I should say, for veterans. But mental health is something that's near and dear also. And I mean, that you can tie that in with veterans, or you can tie that in with just anyone really.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely. If you are struggling, yeah, reach out for help, for sure. So it's not. I always look at it because, and I've never really talked openly about the struggles I've had in the past, but I mean, I've struggled with mental health in the past. I'm diagnosed with bipolar. I'm diagnosed with OCD. I'm not ADHD diagnosed officially, but I probably have it. My wife tells me all the time I probably have ADHD, and she's probably right. But not to laugh at it. But I mean, my mind races so much that sometimes it's so hard to focus. I'm like, I probably have it, but
Yeah, my wife knows I have it.
Yeah. And to me, it's like there are times I look at it, I'm like, I'm 48 years old. I don't really know if there's a point in going on medication at this point. I think I just kind of roll with the punches. But my daughter, and I'm not going to get into too many things with my kids, but I mean, she has struggles with it too. Kind of runs on my side of the family. So, one thing that I want to say, especially if you're dads, but really no matter what, if you get to those points where you are, feeling like there is no hope. Just look at your kids. I mean, I think about that at times too. And I haven't had any kind of crashes. I think the last one I had I was about 30, so you're almost 20 years ago. But thankfully I didn't have kids at that time who had to see me go through that. But that is something that I always try to remind myself of when I am feeling down. So it's definitely get help. And then the quick thing, and then we'll go to Charles here and then wrap up. But one thing I wanted to mention, we didn't talk about it tonight when we were talking about the basketball segment, but the passing of Jerry West.
Yes.
And I know Bill Russell passed away a few weeks ago, and we kind of touched on the show.
Bill Walton, but yeah.
Sorry, Bill Walton. Yeah.
Yep.
Hold on one second. Okay.
Hashtag dad life.
Okay, yeah, but wait, so okay, I'll be up in a second. All right. yeah. There you go. No, so the passing of Jerry West, he is one of those guys that, to me, and I'm gonna be one of those old men yelling at the clouds right now, but I do feel like there's a time, we've gotten to a point where and now my daughter is right here. Okay. Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Okay, go up to bed. I'll be up in a minute. Anyway, so Jerry West is one of those guys. I think if you want to see or get a glimpse of how much that guy loved basketball and loved being a Laker and everything else. And again, I'm a Bucks fan. I don't really hate the Lakers. I don't really hate the Celtics. Well, I hate the Celtics, but I don't really hate the Lakers. But if you sorry, Adam, I wasn't even trying to make a shot at you. But if you want get a chance to watch the Lakers versus Celtics best of frenemies, the 30 for 30. It's a 3-part series. One of the better 30 for 30s that ESPN has done. There is, I want to say it's the second part where they're talking about the struggles that the Lakers had, and they never beat the Celtics back when Jerry West played for the Lakers and everything. What always struck me when I watched that, and then when he passed, and I was thinking back to that, the amount of pain that was on his face still to this day when he was talking. I think it was last year that they did that series, or maybe 2 years ago that they did that 3-part series. The amount of pain, and he looked like he got a little teary-eyed talking about that, and how the very last time they had an opportunity to beat the Celtics in the finals, they lost. I believe it was in LA in Game 7. And then that was right before Bill Russell retired. But he had Wilt on his team. He had the strongest team by far that they had ever had, the best chance of beating the Celtics. And somehow Bill Russell and them found a way to still win. The pain that man still felt to that day. He talked about how after he lost that game, he didn't want to talk about basketball. He didn't want to look at basketball. He didn't want to do anything and even considered retiring. That's a passion right there that I'm not sure. I question how many players nowadays actually have that. And I miss that as somebody who, just loves to see players play at the top of their game and know that they give a damn about winning. Anyway, that's something that I hope we can get back to. I'm just not sure if, with all the money that's involved at this point with pro sports, if that's something that can happen. So anyway, now I'm rambling. Charles, well, how about you, buddy?
All right. Y'all like kind of had this little serious mood going on right now. I'm about to chew some people out.
Do it.
First, I just want to say one thing. The last time that Ronald Acuna tore an ACL, the Braves won the World Series. It's going to happen again. That's just what they do. All right. But look, there's been a whole lot of talk about the WNBA. There's been a whole lot of talk about Caitlin Clark. Look, the woman is an amazing basketball player. Anybody who has a problem with that or anybody who doesn't think so, get the hell over it. because she's really good. 30 points, 8 of 15, 8 rebounds, 7 threes, 6 assists, 4 steals. That was just her game last night. Fastest player in the WNBA to reach 200-plus points and 50-plus assists. Only the second rookie in the WNBA to record a 30-point, 5-rebound, 5 assists, and 5 3-point game. In the history of the WNBA, only one other person ever did that as a rookie. The WNBA released some big numbers earlier yesterday or earlier today. All right. This is stats from the WNBA. Their attendance is up by 156% this season from last season and the seasons past. All right. Just so y'all know, Indiana, Caitlin Clark's coming down here. They're going to play the Atlanta team. The Atlanta team plays in College Park. I don't know a lot of people that are going to watch a women's basketball game in College Park. All right. That's not a place in Atlanta that I really feel you're going to go and see that unless you just really, really love the game. Okay. They have moved both of the games against the Fever to to State Farm, where the Hawks play. You can get a ticket for $25 for the Atlanta WNBA team on a normal game. The price for those tickets are doubled for the Caitlin Clark games. Okay? 400,000 fans have attended WNBA games this season, right? They've been hitting 94% capacity in arenas, something they have never even come close to doing. Televised games are averaging 1.32 million viewers. That's triple their viewership from last season, right? Their online merchandise store is at single season record sales with only 4 months left in the season. Guess where a lot of those sales are coming from? Guess whose jersey all the little girls are buying? And even like big old dudes and stuff. You seeing everybody wearing her jersey at these games. Other players. Y'all want to hate on her because she's better than you at the game? Because everybody can see how talented she is, so we're already celebrating her. That's fine. Those are 2 legitimate reasons to be mad. If you're mad at her for anything else, you can fuck off. Get off social media. Shut your mouths. Stop putting out stupid messages that don't make sense. You guys are all playing for the same brand. You may be on different teams, but you're playing on the same brand. And business for the brand is good. A league that's been in the red since its existence, creeping up to being in the black. And anybody out there who's looking at these numbers, all of a sudden they're making money. Pay the players more. That's not how it works. Shut your mouth. Contracts are contracts. They're written for a reason. That's how the world works. If you start doing really good your job, do you get a raise right away? No, you got to earn it. And when the business
Where
makes
is the
more money
Elmo
and they
Flames
sustain more
meme?
money, then it trickles down. So if you got a problem with the girls' contracts that they signed, shut your mouth. It doesn't matter.
So happy Charlie
Seriously.
Whitlast.
They signed
Wow.
it, right? Caitlin Clark is a beast. She's done wonders for the WNBA. She's literally willing this league into existence in the public eye. Stop fighting. You want to haze her? You want to beat her up on the court? That's fine. But don't sit there and knock her after. Little girls got to act on the court. Sportsmanship is not dead. Get it through your head. Females, you want to raise strong females, be better role models. Stop the trash. Get out there, play, celebrate the fact that somebody is bringing you into relevancy.
Damn.
Preach.
Where is the Elmo fire thing where he's just with the flames behind him? That's Charlie right now. Damn, well done, Charlie. Well done. Well done. Well done.
He's the MJ of your league.
Damn. MJ of the league, and it's only a couple of months in.
Listen, brother.
Damn.
Well done, Charlie. That's how you go on high. Look, gentlemen.
That's how you end the show.
Boom.
It's been fun. Thank you all. Let's have a good night.
Take care, guys.
Later.
Later.
This shirt don't fit like it used to, and I need another notch on my belt. If you're looking for a six-pack muscled up